Hello everyone, welcome to Onichan. Today, I'm going to introduce a romantic love story, where a well-behaved, smart, and uniquely talented hot girl in high school crosses paths with a boyfriend who's into the bad boy tattooed look. While at school, this young man seems introverted and reserved, but once he steps out into society, he transforms into a completely different person. On the streets, he's a shark, but inside the school, he's just a little fish. Will their love find its way amidst their completely contrasting personalities and traits? In their final year of high school, as the young students were preparing for the national exams, instead of offering encouraging words to uplift the students, their homeroom teacher motivated young Kyoko with words that struck at her heart. Despite her petite figure, she remained a hot girl at the school, so her classmates invited her to do some stress-relieving activities. However, Kyoko turned down these invitations due to her numerous household responsibilities. Once she shed her school uniform, Kyoko excelled at taking care of her family. She managed everything at home by herself, including looking after her younger brother. Yet, Kyoko forgot about one person who had brought her younger brother home, leaving her feeling extremely impolite. Kyoko invited him inside for a drink to make amends. However, she completely unaware that this person was her classmate, someone who looked completely different at school. With the timid, introverted appearance he presented there had deceived everyone around him. However, this actually piqued Kyoko's curiosity even more. She boldly invited him to come over to her house again, with the excuse that her little brother really liked him. When Izumi heard this, he was also surprised. This was the first girl to initiate a conversation with him, and from that day on, they began to learn a lot about each other. Izumi had a very unique and stylish persona, but in contrast, his academic performance was quite poor. This amazed Kyoko, as she couldn't believe that a bookish guy like him could perform so poorly in school. As they got closer, Kyoko discovered the handsome details about Izumi, which led her to change her perspective about him. Tonight, she wanted to make some fried eggs, and asked Izumi to help her find some on sale items. When he received the message, he was in a rush because the store's sale was about to end, and he quickly sprinted there as fast as he could. He swiftly approached the fence, and soared over it in the blink of an eye, completing the task Izumi had assigned him. That evening, they had fried rice with egg sauce. Kyoko found Izumi's personality to be very intriguing, and she hoped that nobody else could uncover those mysteries except her. Naturally, Izumi felt the same way, and wanted to be close to Kyoko to live authentically. However, she misinterpreted his intentions and believed he was attempting to flirt with her. Consequently, she threw a glass in Izumi's face, thinking he was being too sweet with a well-behaved girl like her. This left Kyoko extremely embarrassed. Izumi realized that if he wanted to do anything with someone else, there had to be a proper approach, and Izumi understood this and shared a lot about himself to help Kyoko open up more. They began to grow closer, sharing secrets and experiences. Izumi was facing swimming class, and didn't know how to deal with his tattoos. This surprised Kyoko, because she didn't realize she was becoming close with someone as cool as him. Nevertheless, sincere and passionate love can overcome challenges, so Kyoko comforted him to overcome this trial. This led to suspicions from their classmates as they seemed to be getting closer. Toru quickly approached Izumi to assess the situation, as he might be a potential rival in love. Toru had secretly admired Kyoko for a long time but never dared to confess, and he didn't want their brotherly relationship to end just because of a girl. Hence, Izumi decided to keep his distance from Kyoko, not wanting to find himself in such a difficult situation. Today, Toru decided to lay all his feelings bare to Kyoko. Although it was painful for Izumi to give up the girl he liked to his close friend, he was unsure how to confront those feelings. Then, Kyoko returned to meet him with disappointment, and scolded him for letting go of what he was holding in his hands too easily, without sensing her genuine feelings. Meanwhile, there were so many people waiting for her acceptance, yet this foolish guy couldn't grasp those feelings. This infuriated Kyoko, and giving him a good scolding to ease her frustration. The next day, Kyoko's mother returned from her business trip, and found out that her beloved daughter had brought a boy home. She wanted to see what this young man was like. However, based on Kyoko's descriptions, he seemed like an inhumane murderer, making her even more eager to meet her son-in-law. However, Kyoko tried to hide Izumi's identity, because she knew that if her mother found out, she would create a fuss. So, when she got to school, Kyoko appeared mysterious. She didn't know how to initiate a conversation with Izumi, because they were still getting to know each other, and she didn't even know his real name yet. Therefore, Kyoko decided to ask the failure guy, Toru, true to his name. Before she could say anything, the tearful fellow quickly turned and ran away. The next day, Izumi visited Kyoko's house again. He was met with an incredibly charming and friendly face that left him extremely shy in front of his future mother-in-law. Luckily, he had brought a gift, which seemed to successfully bribe the older lady. However, Kyoko was quite startled when her mother was quicker than her in seeing son-in-law, so Kyoko quickly investigated Izumi, to find out if her mother had said anything negative about her. However, it seems this clueless guy still doesn't know anything about these secrets, so the girl decided to spill the beans herself. This made Izumi burst into uncontrollable laughter, when Kyoko pulled off some mysterious tricks in order to uncover his real name, so, he writing it down on paper to save her the trouble of forgetting. Yet, Kyoko felt like this guy was poking fun at her, so she gave him a punch to restore her dignity, but that didn't change anything, as Izumi had already found her weakness, and pushed her to the point of infuriation. Inside the school, Kyoko was asked by the student council president to help with some assignments. Despite wanting to decline, being close to the handsome guy made it impossible for her to reject those flattering words. She absorbed all the flowery compliments, and accepted the entire stack of assignments, so, she tirelessly worked day and night to complete them. Even though she knew she was being taken advantage of, she couldn't resist that captivating charm. She handed over all the completed assignments to Remy. Outside, Izumi is deeply concerned about Kyoko's well-being, while Remy charges into him, and she scolded him for not dodging when she was walking by, then quickly collected all the assignments without showing any interest in Izumi. The next day when Izumi enters the classroom, things take a turn, when Kyoko is caught up in Kakeru's questioning, as her assignments from the previous day were missing a crucial part. Kakeru's group wants to confirm this and holds her accountable. This infuriates Kyoko's group, as she had spent the entire day yesterday completing it. Yet today Kakeru shows no gratitude and instead blames them. Consequently, Izumi doesn't need to say much. He walks up and grabs the collar of the student council president, then delivers a strong headbutt, when daring to touch his crush. The young ones are alarmed, and urge him to avoid a violent situation. However, Izumi presents evidence from the report that Remy had dropped yesterday. Despite him calling out again, Remy paid no attention and stormed off like a god. Thus, all these accusations are pinned on Remy. This makes Kyoko happy, as she usually sees Izumi as a bit naive. But when it comes to matters like this, he's assertive. Izumi doesn't understand why Kyoko suddenly takes on these tasks, as she's not the type to ask for help. So, she reveals the truth, explaining that since childhood, people have referred to them as childhood sweethearts, implying they are close and cherished friends. So, Kakeru requested her help, and she couldn't refuse. Approaching Kyoko's birthday, both young men, Izumi and Toru, are struggling to figure out what to give her, and the dilemma persists for hours until a solution is found. Finally that day has come. Kyoko's younger brother presents her with a hand-drawn painting, while Izumi gifts her a famous music album, deeply touching Kyoko. It's the first time she's received birthday wishes from a guy, making her feel moved. This triggers memories of Izumi's dark moments, when he was shunned by everyone around him, ostracized due to being considered strange. Consequently, he adopted certain traits to attract attention as he grew older. However, only Kyoko didn't distance herself from him, making him cherish her deeply. The next day, everyone gathers to check the class rankings together, and Toru continues to be in the same class as Izumi. This excites Toru immensely, leading people to speculate that the two of them are romantically involved, leaving Izumi only able to cry out when denying that. However, when it comes to his outside world, Izumi remains introverted. He keeps his emotions guarded and doesn't open up to others. At this point, the group of friends divides their tasks, attempting to integrate Izumi into the group. Despite their efforts, he remains trapped within his own introspective nature. Only Toru understands what he's thinking, and offers words of encouragement and comfort, helping Izumi regain her strength within her soul. But upon entering the classroom, he was hit, because the two of them had the audacity to avoid doing their assignments and chat with each other, then heating up some sort of romantic sentiment. But when Izumi sees Kyoko's smile, all his worries seem to vanish. Meanwhile, Kyoko is sitting alone, drinking her milk when she encounters Remy, and she wants to talk to Kyoko about her new relationship. When Izumi does seem quite handsome and romantic, so, she wants to understand their relationship so she can approach him. However, Kyoko declines, asserting that even though their relationship isn't public, Izumi belongs to her, and she won't let anyone come between her and her crush. So, Kyoko devises a plan to advance their relationship. She calls Izumi over to her house under the pretense of seeking advice, and then suggests they watch a classic horror movie together, and this plan is in line with her intentions. But this idiot Izumi is afraid of ghosts. When he started watching for a while, he was already trembling and shocked, as if heaven had appeared to him in the moment of sudden power outage, causing the poor guy to be scared to the point of wetting himself. He even asked Kyoko to have him come home immediately, because he was so scared staying in this house, and yet, she is so ruthless, making him watch the next part to maintain the suspense. Despite him claiming he's already very scared, he needed the warmth of a hand to comfort his trembling heart, and Kyoko's plan worked perfectly. She didn't hesitate to let him hold her hand, and everything became uncertain from there. Who would be the prey and who would be the predator? However, not long after, her younger brother returned and messed up everything, so there was no continuation of the scene. My friends, everything merely stopped at the level of being friends. But Kyoko's story she told Remy yesterday has spread throughout the school, as she openly declared that no one should touch Izumi. And because of this, Toru ended up beating Izumi severely, as his closest friend stole Kyoko away from him. Even though Toru had clarified this matter before, Izumi still stubbornly denied it, and now everything has fallen apart like this, with everyone suspecting they are dating. But Kyoko sought out Toru to clarify the situation, and expressed words that deeply hurt him. She told Toru a great guy, but she only sees him as an older brother, and asked both of them to reconcile. What a bad girl. When she teases his feelings like that, on a coincidental day, Sakura dropped some documents on the ground, and luckily, Toru picked them up. At that moment, their eyes locked onto each other. Sakura was captivated by his handsome appearance, causing her to appear very shy when facing Toru, but fate had already decided. When Sakura's group joined Kyoko's team, so Izumi and Kyoko went to buy drinks to welcome the new members. Here, their group was buzzing about Kyoko and Toru's relationship, causing Toru's heart to stir. They speculated that the two of them must have done something together, which is why they took so long to buy drinks. But when Izumi and Kyoko returned, it brought joy to Toru's heart without restraint. However, a shocking revelation from Izumi made him panic. When Izumi accidentally revealed that he had already done it, so Toru didn't want to hear any more explanations. He was astounded by his best friend's quick action, and thinking that if anything had happened, he should have let Toru know about it. But that's just one side of the story. In truth, Izumi accidentally dropped a Coca-Cola can, causing it to explode all over Toru, and Sakura quickly handed her handkerchief to him. Outside of their time at school, Izumi and Kyoko had a study session at small room, just the two of them. Although the air conditioning was out today, it didn't bother them much. Izumi decided to take off his clothes to cool down, which got Kyoko extremely excited. When this is the second time she had seen a guy's body, however, Kyoko also wanted to know if Izumi did this with anyone else, or if she was the reason he was acting so animalistic, which made her extremely shy to ask such intimate questions. Izumi didn't hesitate to completely reveal himself to her, allowing her to explore. He had something he wanted to tell Kyoko as well. When the previous day, he had met his middle school friend, who was bragging about his new girlfriend. By accident, Izumi let it slip that Kyoko was his girlfriend, even though Izumi hadn't gotten her agreement yet, so he wanted to apologize to Kyoko for speaking without asking permission. But before long, that middle school friend sent him a message, when this is confidential information, and which made Kyoko quite curious as well. Izumi quickly deleted them, and then he called that friend to give him a scolding. The plan would have been exposed, and this piqued Kyoko's interest a lot, as it was the first time she had seen Izumi act so decisively, so she really wanted to meet his middle school friend. The next day, while Kyoko was out buying some pastries, she ran into Izumi's middle school friend. He rushed over in a panic to face his friend, not knowing if this person had accidentally revealed something, and warned him not to speak carelessly and ruin his crush's feelings. And the next morning, Kyoko was running a high fever, but she still wanted to go to school. However, her younger brother Sota stopped her, and pushed her to bed for a rest, and then the boy asked Izumi to come home to take care of his older sister, which surprised Kyoko, when he came so quickly. Izumi left a few things and went outside to get some water, but Kyoko mistakenly thought he was leaving her behind, so she quickly ran after him and begged him to stay with her, as she was really scared of being alone in the house. This fear stemmed from her own wounds as a child, when her mother was away for work all year round, and didn't take care of her. Now, Kyoko was haunted by that feeling, and she implored Izumi to stay with her. Izumi sensed her pain and decided to stay to help her recover from her illness. Seizing the opportunity, he opened up about his feelings for Kyoko, whether she was aware of them or not, and then he left. Hearing those words, Kyoko was taken aback. Unbelievable, she had heard Izumi's heartfelt confession. She really wanted to confirm whether it was true or not, so she decided to skip another day of school, to give Izumi a chance to come and take care of her again. Unfortunately for Izumi, Kyoko's younger brother discovered that he was dating another girl, and quickly went back home to tell older sister. This news left Kyoko restless, as she had been waiting all day for Izumi to visit her. She found it hard to believe, so she questioned her younger brother to be sure. The boy confirmed with 100% certainty that Izumi was indeed embracing, and being affectionate with the other girl, though it was unclear whether they had kissed or not. This revelation shook Kyoko to her core, and she wanted to call Izumi immediately to clarify. However, she realized that she couldn't let herself be so easily hurt, so she decided to go to school to find out the truth. As soon as she arrived at school, she confronted Toru. Not knowing if he was involved or not, feeling like she might have been too aggressive, she decided to quietly observe Izumi from a distance, but before she could find any evidence, she was discovered, therefore, she had to make this issue very clear. Kyoko quickly confronted Izumi about whether he was dating another girl or not, assuming he would deny it. However, Izumi was upfront and honest, revealing the girl's name right away, which infuriated Kyoko even more. She couldn't forgive him for that. Thankfully, Izumi managed to explain that the girl was the girlfriend of his middle school friend, and on that day, he had accidentally helped them when they slipped. He just escorted her back home and didn't do anything else. Kyoko flung the book at Izumi's face in frustration, angered by the fact that he had brought another girl home, and even considered taking things further. She stormed off without allowing him to explain himself. Upon reaching home, she realized that her reaction might have been too extreme, and she wasn't sure if Izumi was angry with her as well. Fortunately, Izumi took the initiative to visit her at home and apologize. He used the pretext of returning the book to come play, and both of them recognized their mistakes. But there's something even more important. Kyoko wanted to confirm the words Izumi had confessed the previous day, so Izumi mustered up his courage to express his feelings for her. Just as this crucial moment was unfolding, Kyoko's father returned home, and discovered his daughter with a young man. He immediately started interrogating Izumi about his intentions with his precious daughter. However, before Izumi could answer, Kyoko intervened by hitting her father on the head to stop him from questioning Izumi. So, he asked her to do something, allowing him to have a chat with his son-in-law. But when it came time to get to the main point, little Kyoko interrupted their conversation. After a while, Izumi found Kyoko's father's behavior quite eccentric, as he rambled on about unrelated topics, leaving Izumi puzzled about how to respond. Finally, Kyoko's father confirms that Izumi is indeed his daughter's boyfriend. He expressed his dislike for guys with long hair like Izumi's, as they seemed too rebellious and cool in appearance. Izumi stood up and proclaimed that he would change everything for Kyoko's sake. So, her father designed a new hairstyle for Izumi. But whenever he tried to provoke Izumi, Kyoko swiftly gave her father a few hits. Just then, Izumi's mother-in-law also returned. The whole family together. Izumi had to ask permission to leave, and allow the family to enjoy their time. Kyoko quickly took Izumi home, and the two of them strolled together, and taking the opportunity to hold hands and go all the way. The scene was incredibly romantic, making Izumi extremely happy, when he has been more daring in holding Kyoko's hand. The next day, Izumi visited Kyoko's house again. However, Kyoko's father failed to recognize him, even considering giving this young man a beating. Fortunately, Kyoko told her father that it was Izumi, so he decided to lighten the mood by suggesting they go for a bath together. Can you imagine what happens next, as a confrontation unfolds between the two athletes in the bath? Not only that, Kyoko's father even invited Izumi to stay and sleep in the same room as him, seizing the rare chance to bond with his future son-in-law. Expecting a night full of deep conversations between the two men, Kyoko's father fell asleep early. Early in the morning, Kyoko rushed over to check on the situation. Unsure of what they had done to each other last night, she quickly took Izumi away to school, and right at that moment, they were caught by their schoolmates, and exposing their budding relationship to everyone. This left Toru feeling bitter, as he no longer had a chance to pursue Kyoko. Meanwhile, Izumi had to deal with public opinion, as everyone around him labeled Kyoko as a misguided girl who got involved with an eccentric guy that people avoided. So, Izumi decided to change himself drastically. He got a new haircut that left everyone amazed by his handsome looks. Especially the girls who were swooning over him. The timeless handsomeness that had been hidden all this time was finally revealed. However, all this newfound attention still couldn't compare to the icy rainstorm of emotions brought by Kyoko. She was keeping an eye on what that group of people was doing with her boyfriend, finding it hard to believe how infatuated the girls from their class were with him. So, Kyoko's jealousy flared up against them all, and she quickly took Izumi home. However, Kyoko's father still hadn't recognized Izumi every time visited. Just then, Izumi's middle school friend called him, seeking comfort after his own breakup. He was feeling down, so decided to play a game to win a huge basket of candies, and now, uncertain about what else to do to finish off all the candies, he decided to split the food between the two of them. But there was something strange, as the friendship between these two young men grew so close that they were sharing candy, something that even Kyoko felt a pang of jealousy over. Seizing the opportunity, Izumi playfully took a candy from Kyoko's mouth to taste. This surprising move left Kyoko stunned. When Izumi stole her very first kiss, the following day, on her way to school, Kyoko encountered a girl who stopped her to contend for Izumi. But before she could do anything, the girl quickly ran after Izumi's tail, and urged him to break up with Kyoko, and creating a misunderstanding among those who witnessed the scene. And then Chika continued to observe them relentlessly. So, Sister Kyoko had to handle this foolish younger sibling, who dared to meddle with her boyfriend. But Chika explained with an extremely unreasonable reason, because she really liked Sister Kyoko, and didn't want her to fall for someone as foolish as Izumi. So, Chika followed them to have more opportunities to intervene in their feelings, and deduced that this girl liked to wreck other people's relationships. Sensing the underlying tension, Izumi politely asked to have Kyoko back home. However, Kyoko's sister vehemently resisted and initiated a chaotic tug-of-war, creating a public spectacle of the situation. Fortunately, Izumi managed to successfully retrieve Kyoko and they returned together, and things took a different turn as the young girl persistently tried to approach Kyoko, prompting Izumi to swiftly shield his girlfriend from her enchantment. And the situation didn't just blow over. Kyoko's sister continued her relentless pursuit, tailing Izumi to get a chance to see Kyoko. Izumi, however, was determined not to let that happen, even practicing at Kyoko's house, to finish watching a horror movie they had started together. Despite being scared of horror movies, he tried his best to watch the movie in line with Kyoko's interests. Their relationship had reached a point of quiet intimacy, where actions spoke louder than words. Izumi closed in on Kyoko, attempting to share a passionate kiss, but just then, Kyoko's father unexpectedly intervened, breaking the atmosphere. He disrupted the moment, leaving Kyoko unable to utter a word, and she charged towards her father, delivering a series of hits without him understanding what was going on. In the afternoon at school, Yuki and Toru are on a mission together. Toru accidentally bumped into Sakura, causing water to spill all over her. Although it was unintentional, Toru quickly rushed off to get clean clothes for Sakura. Despite her embarrassment, Sakura appreciated Toru's kindness. The next day, Sakura sought out Toru to return his borrowed clothes, and presented him with some homemade cookies as a token of gratitude. Toru accepted the cookies without hesitation, and enjoyed them on the spot, praising Sakura's baking skills. This made Sakura's heart flutter with happiness and joy. From that day on, she consistently baked cookies for Toru to eat. This development pained Yuki deeply, as she had secretly harbored feelings for Toru for a long time, and her introverted nature prevented her from confessing her emotions to him, and gradually things took a turn for the worse. With the person she liked being pursued by someone else, Yuki felt the need to make some changes herself. She decided to learn how to bake sponge cake from Izumi. However, her first attempt at baking turned out quite unusual. She made a nightfall sponge cake that looked quite peculiar. Yuki wanted Izumi and Kyoko to taste it secretly without telling anyone. However, Toru suddenly appeared and discovered Sakura's nightfall sponge cake. Despite its less than stellar appearance, hunger got the better of him, so he eating the whole thing. Meanwhile, Izumi embarked on a trip to visit distant relatives, leaving Kyoko missing him dearly. The 5 days of separation felt long for both of them. The silver lining was that Izumi forgot his phone charger at home, so his phone ran out of battery and turned off. Kyoko couldn't reach him, leading her to anxiously await his return. She wondered whether Izumi might have started dating someone else during her absence. Finally, the 5th day arrived, and Kyoko received news about a level 5 or 6 storm near Izumi's location. This worried her greatly, and she had to take action immediately by searching for him. On the other hand, Izumi had just returned home and plugged in his phone, reading Kyoko's messages from the past few days. This prompted him to swiftly set out to find her, and the meeting happened when the two of them finally found each other. Kyoko, overcome with emotion, tears streaming down her face, tightly embraced him, declaring that she wouldn't let him leave her side for a single moment again. Eager to deepen their bond, Kyoko sought advice from experts. When the single friends provided advice to someone who already had a boyfriend, sticking to her plan, Kyoko invited Izumi over to her house to watch a horror movie, knowing he was scared of them yet constantly insisted on watching them. Not only that, but Kyoko played a somewhat cruel trick on Izumi, giving him a sudden fright, and during the intense parts of the movie, they accidentally touched hands, causing Izumi scream in panic. Meanwhile, Izumi got scared of ghosts to the point of almost dying, and he had no choice but to hide in the restroom. However, this made Kyoko think that she had failed in her romantic endeavor, as she perceived herself as bland, devoid of any hint of romance in her personality. Izumi, realizing her thoughts, and assuring he loved her for authentic personality, regardless of how she perceived herself, his heartfelt words touched Kyoko deeply. She leaned into him and feeling her heart race, and Izumi took the opportunity to reciprocate her feelings. They spent a gentle rainy afternoon together, embracing the cold weather, and it seemed that whatever was meant to happen eventually did. The next day, Kyoko took meticulous care of him, attending to every detail, and even tending to each of his toes. However, today would be different. In a fleeting moment, Izumi placed his foot on Kyoko's head, but that naughty act quickly disappeared when the guy apologized to his girlfriend. But these actions made Kyoko see him as quite assertive, and she wanted him to maintain that bold attitude because she really liked it. And so, Izumi summoned all his inner strength, and confidently performed in front of the entire class, causing his close group of friends to burst into tears, when she got him to arch his back to pose like a straight guy, and even had him play the role of a rough man in front of other female students. Meanwhile, Yuki had an unfamiliar boy confess his feelings to her, putting her in an awkward position since she didn't like him, so they asked Toru to play the role of Yuki's potential boyfriend, pretending that the two were in love and straightforwardly rejecting the other guy, even though they were just pretending to be each other's significant other. Yuki treasured this moment greatly. This was the first time she held her crush's hand and walked to the arranged meeting point. Toru exuded confidence in handling these situations, as his masculine charm was second to none. But things took a turn when he encountered his rival, a guy with looks comparable to that of a male deity, captivating anyone who laid eyes on him. If Toru were placed in this situation, he'd still be captivated, let alone the girls. Surprisingly, Yuki turned down this attractive guy. Kyoko quickly rushed to explain to Yuki in an intense manner, when she couldn't believe Yuki rejected someone of such high quality. But Yuki explained that he wasn't her ideal boyfriend. This made Kyoko think that she might actually like Toru. After a period of investigation, it turned out that Yuki was right in her refusal. He had a handsome face, but he suffered from nearsightedness and couldn't clearly see people, often bumping into others around the school. Moreover, he also had a condition of visual disorder, where his eyesight was so impaired that he couldn't distinguish between Yuki's friends. In conclusion, Yuki's rejection was indeed a wise choice. In the afternoon, Kyoko designs a super cool hairstyle for her boyfriend, making the girls around them drop their jaws in awe. Kyoko's inner madness ignited, and the moment there was a slight opening, the girls would cling to her boyfriends. So Kyoko gave the guy a smack on the face and told him to leave right away. Yuki was quite irritated, as her buddy had become quite popular ever since he got that handsome haircut, attracting those clingy girls day in and day out. This annoyed Yuki quite a bit. Then came Izumi's group of friends, teasing and mocking him. However, today is unlucky day for them, as the little girl unleashed her pent-up frustration by using her scathing skill against them. Kyoko's joy was evident as she vented her anger. This transformation frightened Izumi, seeing the once gentle girl beside him turn so fierce. But unexpectedly, they ran into their close friend from secondary school, when he kept tearing apart their feelings. This led Kyoko to believe that Izumi had fallen out of love with her, and he used that weakness to tease them. Izumi swiftly took Kyoko away, but looking at her adorable face, his anger subsided. He couldn't stay mad. He just wanted to hold her close. Upon arriving at Kyoko's home, his father-in-law sensed the inner turmoil of his son-in-law. He led the young boy to the bathroom for a heart-to-heart talk, commending him for successfully taming this lioness. He understood this feeling well, when having been through it himself. The next day, in the chilly grip of winter, Izumi and Kyoko continued their journey to school. Izumi encountered his close friend, and their exchanged glances ignited a spark of jealousy in Kyoko. She felt threatened by this acquaintance, perceiving him as a potential rival for Izumi's affections. Kyoko's intuition, the third eye, didn't deceive her. The acquaintance seemed overly familiar with Izumi, and he even mentioned the name of Izumi's grade 2 best friend, shattering Kyoko's heart. All her efforts seemed in vain, as her relationship crumbled before eyes. So, she quickly embarked on an investigation to uncover the truth. However, Izumi's grade 2 acquaintance arrived at just the right time. Kyoko inquired about the current state of his feelings for girlfriend, to which he casually responded that he had spent quite a bit of time at Izumi's house recently, prompting Kyoko to flare up in jealousy. Now she was no longer just concerned about the girls around him, she had to watch out for the group of boys as well, who seemed intent on sway her boyfriend's heart. Consequently, Kyoko forbade Izumi from getting too close to those boys. Meanwhile, Yuki had to confront his own unspoken feelings, as Sakura confessed her affection for Toru, and he, not knowing how to handle the situation either, ended up seeking Yuki's advice as well. The two of them went up to the rooftop to confide in each other. While he still kept his promise of being Yuki's fake boyfriend, and he hadn't yet responded to Sakura's feelings, he believed he already had someone in his heart and wished to maintain his relationship with Yuki. Meanwhile, Sakura was heartbroken when Toru rejected her confession. Seeing him getting close with Yuki, she realized she couldn't interfere with their feelings. She wished them well, and held her pain within her. When unrequited love still makes her suffer without reciprocating that love. In the meantime, the bond between Toru and Yuki grew stronger. Toru invited Yuki over to his house to play games together. However, when they arrived, the situation felt odd to Yuki. Toru had to sneak them in, not wanting anyone to know he brought a girl home. Upon entering Toru's room, he quickly closed the door and take off clothes, but Yuki misunderstood, thinking that he had intentions towards her, and became extremely panicked. However, Toru assured her that he was straight, and wouldn't do anything like that, leaving Yuki disappointed as she had only pretended a little. Exactly then, the housekeeper heard the strange noises, and was about to enter the room. Upon discovering that Toru had brought a girl inside, she took a particular interest in Yuki, and promised to keep this matter a secret from Toru's mother. This gesture left Toru feeling dejected. With everything exposed, he felt powerless. The housekeeper's constant snooping made it hard for them to do anything without being noticed. This led Yuki to misunderstand that her might be in danger, and she to cry out in fear, raising the question of whether this relationship was rushed. Meanwhile, the Christmas season arrived. As everyone busied themselves preparing for a peaceful Christmas, couples exchanged gifts, and Izumi was no exception. He set aside time to visit Kyoko's house and celebrate Christmas with her. However, due to overtime at his bakery, he couldn't spend much time with his wife's family, and had to return to work. Therefore, Kyoko took him for a walk and confessed her feelings to Izumi, as she didn't want to be separated from him after graduation. This confession left Izumi incredibly perplexed, and unsure if he still had a chance to be with Kyoko. Consequently, he evaded giving an answer by running away to his workplace. And the day of graduation for all of them finally arrived. When his father-in-law came specifically to congratulate him on graduating from his course, Kyoko burst into tears upon seeing her father also present. She quickly threatened him about many things. Not only that, but he didn't even bother taking a picture together with his own daughter, only showing concern for his beloved son-in-law, which left Kyoko extremely angry. And just like that, Izumi overcame the fear within his soul, and moved forward with Kyoko, because she had illuminated his inner world, and letting him know that this life holds many joys waiting for him to discover. Today's video ends here, folks. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to support Oichin in the upcoming videos. Thank you for tuning in, much love.